To the channel. I'm your host, Shane. So let's talk about what took place in Washington last night, yesterday night, yesterday evening to the night, and the results of that now. So now it's stand at 5 dead as a direct result of the protests, or as the media is calling it, insurrection, which is rightly so, the storming of the state building and all of the Capitol building and all of that. And so one police officer is dead among five after pro-Trump mob storms U.S. Capitol. By the way, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, I mean. Let me just read some more of the headline article. The police confirmed on Thursday night that Officer Brian Sicknick died as a result of injuries sustained on duty, bringing the total number of deaths up to 5 people. On Wednesday, authorities named former Air Force member Ashley Babbitt as the person who was shot by a member of the law enforcement as she took part in the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol. Metropolitan Police Department Chief Robert Conti also confirmed that 3 others died due to separate medical emergencies as the capital was stormed. So, 3 of the deaths aren't like directly caused by the riot, as in rioters killed them, but they died as a result of the riot. Like they sustained medical issues and they could have been saved if there was no riots taking place within the capital. That's how I'm seeing it right here. Now, when this happening, as a black person, as a black man, the response was clearly, you see how the police was responding to these people. We are talking about the state building where Congress, Congress and senators were on the floor, taking a stand, somewhere to certify the election. And these people stormed the building, people had to be evacuated. And can you imagine, and to think that it was so easily done? It was so easily done. There was no real force or resistance from police officers to stop these people. You remember in summer where they were National Guard was called out, or they were reacting to the Black Lives Matter movement and all of that shit, and to see that these people literally allow these people to walk directly into the Capitol building. You don't know if there was some Russian spies among them, Iranian spies. You don't know if there was some Chinese spies who would have directly gotten access to to the Capitol building. I don't know if they might have deployed some cyber attacks. And I heard that they were. I saw one report that saying that like things were stolen from the building, like computers and other stuff. You don't know what kind of information and stuff is gonna be on these things, right? You don't know what happened. You don't know what kind of covert mission is being taking place when this type of thing is taking place. So to see that the police officers and you know were laxed in their duty and supposed to protect one of the most, this is supposed to be one of the most protected cities in the world. This is Washington D.C. This is where U.S. government convene and carry out. And I know this is basically the brain of the USA. You don't know who is mixed up in all of these crowd. But I think I want to look at the bigger picture here, which is how will this be resolved? America is at a crossroads right now. You know, America is fractured. And this fracturing is not just a split between two parties, like oh, Republican Democrat. It's deeper. There's a real hatred that has been simmering, and I think it's an ideological battle. And honestly, I think the politicians, the media are to be blamed for this. Trump including. I think Trump is just a result, a symptom of the system that has been festering. I know everybody do want to just cast all the blame on Trump and think that after Trump we get rid of Trump, then everything is gonna be nice and everyone is gonna go back to being good little Americans. These are things that have been festering, and it's as a result of how the whole American political system is set up. You guys are pushed in. You guys push information, and you tell your constituency voters are dumbed down. most of these people don't even know what real issues they're fighting for. They think that they're, you start to see them flip flopping. You start to see the hypocrisy coming out, and you start to realizing that these people really don't even know what they're arguing or fighting for. People are politicians are hijacking their emotions and their outrage, and they are redirecting it to get votes and to get support. But the people aren't really getting what they really want. They are just being emotionally manipulated. And it's sad. It's really sad to see because, man, listen, it's gonna get worse. And I don't know how you guys gonna get over it, because even if you guys can identify an external enemy like China or anything like that, sure, you guys might be united. But for how long? Because again, there's an ideological rift. The far right believe in extreme capitalism. You have the far left believe in social welfare and some form of socialism. And then people in the middle aren't even sure if they're even in the middle. They just don't want to be engaged in it. They don't really take any ideological part. But America is at a crossroads now. There's too many voices in America. Let me rephrase that. There's too many individualistic voices in America that are at the top of your political and your politics and government and media and all of these things. And this is dangerous, because here's why it's dangerous. These individuals are pursuing individualistic goals and achievement, but they are commanding a huge collective of society. That is why Trump is so dangerous. Because even after Trump leaves the White House, his brand of politics was a populist brand of politics. That is also why Bernie Sanders is so powerful, because these aren't just powerful. Trump isn't just a powerful Republican. He's not just another Republican. He's somebody who has an ideology that is shared by millions of Americans. See, with Bernie Sanders, is someone as an ideology that is shared by millions. That is why they are so popular and also so feared. Of course, Bernie Sanders is nowhere as bad as Trump. As a matter of fact, I quite like Bernie Sanders. But the point still remains is that America has allowed too many individuals to rise to the top and is in control of millions of Americans, are leaders of those millions of Americans that follow them ideology and emotions and all of that. And what happens is that when these individuals now ideas start to clash with the core values of what America stands for, America is now in a situation where they're going to realize that it's possible for us to have a next civil war. Because what you're going to find out is that, yes, the people might love America, but individualism is always going to trump nationalism. It's going to trump any other kind of ism. In other words, Trump might say he loves America, but at the end of the day, he's going to always be choosing himself first. And that's human nature. That's not something exclusive to Trump or to Americans. It's human nature to choose self-preservation. Only very few human beings who have, ascended the human nature, basically become kings, beat out the human nature, and able to ascend beyond the limitations that human beings can really die for a greater good. Most human beings can't do it. In other words, that is why Trump was gassing all of these people. This was a very people knew that this was a possibility. As a matter of fact, we are lucky that all we saw was just 5 deaths yesterday. These are people we're talking about. This could have gone way worse. It's a good thing that most of these protesters yesterday weren't armed. Can you imagine even the female that died while she was in the building? Can you imagine if the other protesters, they were armed when she was shot and just rushed in a panic and started shooting as well. You know, a lot of time we think that an idea is good because we are in a state of calm and neutrality. We're thinking about it logically. But most time we don't realize that it's okay now to think of something as logical, but when you're in a situation where now you become an autopilot, you know, your logic is thrown beyond and you're now in a fight or flight mode. And these are the realities that a lot of time people don't take into consideration when they are doing certain things. But it's sad, man. I'm not sure how US is gonna heal from this. I'm trying to see. I hope they heal from this because America is one. You know, America is too powerful to be unstable, and this is the problem about when power. This is also one of the knock against democracy, is that when power is not stable and not consolidated at the top, chaos ensues. As a matter of fact, you guys don't realize just how unstable America is in, an unstable state America is in right now because power is in the hands of someone like Trump, who ideologically a lot of people align with. A lot of people in the police force, a lot of people in the army, a lot of people in the CIA, a lot of people might align with him ideologically. And he's pushing certain rhetoric, you know, Facebook ban him, Twitter ban him indefinitely. You know, most people might think that they are trying to silence Trump, but these are people who have realized the risk of what can happen between now and the 20th of January. Yeah, you guys can't even see it because you guys don't realize just power in a country like America that is so powerful. When power is not consolidated firmly in the hands of one person or in the hands of somebody constable, chaos ensues. And that's one of the problems with democracy, is that power is fractured in them. For democracy to work perfectly, the power has to be fractured. Because the whole point of democracy is to ensure that we don't have somebody become so powerful that they can unlawfully just do anything that they want. They could kill 1,000,000 people and nothing happens. But for that type of system to work, power needs to be fractured. That is why you have three different branches of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the, what's the other one? I don't know. So, you know, Senate, Congress, and the president himself, and then all of these things. That is why it is structured like that, and then you have the military all to itself as well. Power has to be fractured like that, but it has to work in a perfect system, like again, like a democracy like the America, where in an ideal world, all the systems will work together to achieve a specific goal. But what I find happening is that now individualism, which America preaches, is going to be its own end. And this is the irony about life, you know, is that no theory should work for eternity. It won't work because variables are always changing. Things are always changing. Right? Things shift. Americans have been pushing certain ideology, thinking that this ideology can stand the test of time. What they don't realize is that it's impossible for any specific ideology to stand the test of time because things change, people change, and then you need to adjust and pivot. You need to be pragmatic in your stance in life, because as again, right? So individualism was probably good in the inception of America. The country was huge. It was a huge land. You were trying to unite it 50 odd states, you know, of various different all that. So we're gonna create an overarching ideal, you know, and then we're gonna have individuals go throughout all of these places and become enterprise. That was America was able to develop. That individualism was essential in the beginning of America. But now when America has achieved ascend to the top and achieved so much, and it's at the peak of its power, that individualism can now become the thing that tears it apart. And because you guys have not, because America has never taken a pragmatic approach to teaching its population, you know, you have all the Americans and business leaders and politicians always seeing the common citizens as expendable, as means to an end, as just numbers, voters, you know, consumers, And just these things, I haven't really seen you guys have realized that you guys have human resources are a most is a country most important resources, and you guys have been dumbed down completely. Entertainment, you guys can't even tell what is the real truth. You have one section that consume Fox News religiously, Fox News religiously, another section that consumes CNN and MSNBC religiously. Nobody knows what is really taking place between both sides. Everybody's in an echo chamber. This is what America has produced, an individualistic nation armed to the teeth. Everybody switch and selfishly looking out for each other. You guys think that you're gonna survive on top forever? It won't last unless there's reform. Well, that's it for the video. This is my late night rant. I'm running this rant late at night. I'm not using a script, so I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, but for those of you who have watched up until this point, thank you guys for sticking around. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.